Have you ever thought, why do I suck at fantasy football? Welcome. This is the Commissioner Fantasy Football Podcast.
And welcome to the Commissioner Fantasy Football Podcast with your host, Eric. Week 5 is over. Week 6 is coming on. Man, we have still a bunch of time left in fantasy football. So if you and, like me in some leagues where I'm 1-4, it's okay. Buckle up. We're going to move on. Look, fantasy can be cruel, especially if you have that Monday night game with Jackson going off, Lamar Jackson all of a sudden going off, with also his tight end Andrews plus Hollywood Brown. So there was some bad losses. I lost in 2 leagues because of Andrews. I have Andrews in the league in 2 leagues where I didn't need him to do a lot. He overdid it. I didn't need it. But in the other leagues that he was playing against me, he got me. And then I had Lamar Jackson in 1 league where I came 1.5 or like 2 points away from winning. The last touchdown didn't do it. So fantasy football can be cruel. That's all I'm going to say. So if you're experiencing, this is a time a lot of people just experience, they kind of give up because they lose week after week after week. And it's kind of like they flat look, there's still waivers. You can still make trades. There's a lot of season left. And right now we have 11. Yeah. Am I counting right? So 5 weeks is over. 17 weeks we have 17 weeks. So yeah, no, 11 plus 5 is 16. So we have 12 weeks still left of football, fantasy football. So, all right, before we get into some of the starts, especially the Thursday game that I'm going to try to get out as soon as possible, some injury updates. There's Wednesday usually is the day when injury reports come out. So I'm going to run through some quick ones. TJ Hawkinson, people that don't practice, you kind of have to monitor. TJ Hawkins has been dealing with an injury. He didn't practice. That's kind of normal, so I wouldn't worry about that. The coach for the Panthers says that McCaffrey's 50-50. Great. McCaffrey owners, throw your hats or whatever. Just, it is the most frustrating thing to own McCaffrey and Cook. Those are the 2 top players drafted. And this week, Alvin Kamara is on bye week. So we have a bye week with Alvin Kamara. So if you drafted Cook or you drafted McCaffrey, you're just, unless you have Madison and McCaffrey, Hubbard hasn't, his backup. Chuba Hubbard, that's what I think I called him something like that. You want to start Chuba? I mean, he hasn't been great. Madison did okay. So Joe Burrow, he had an issue with his throat, but looks like he should be fine. I love Joe Burrow. Dalvin Cook returned to practice. Maybe good news, but that's, I think from last week, that was the same thing. So looks like Julio Jones was back at practice. That might be good news. Damian Harris, I'm not even that guy's touchdown dependent. Just some notes: Jefferson and Thielen for the Vikings, limited in practice. So did not practice Wednesday. Allen Robinson and wide receiver Mooney for the Bears. No good there. They did not practice. Mike Williams. Mike Williams had a knee injury. It looked like he was injured that game. He came back and just went off. So Mike Williams is probably the Cinderella of 2021 so far. But he did not practice. Let me see anything else. That's about it for the news. Look, if you have whatever app you're using, hopefully you're using the Sleeper app. All you have to do is click on the player and they'll give you an update. Pay attention. That's all. It doesn't take that long too. When you're taking a dump in the bathroom, that's usually what I do, and I just scroll down and check on my players. I'm in 10 leagues, so I take long bathroom dumps. Whatever. If you're listening, I don't care what you think about me. So, again, like I said in the beginning, don't give up. It's a long season. If you're 0-5, don't give up. There's still a way to come back. You just got to make the playoffs. Once when you make the playoffs, I've done it. I've done it before. I barely made the playoffs. I had to squeeze myself in. I squeezed myself in and I beat everybody out and I won the championship. It can happen. It doesn't always happen. but at least you'll be in the playoffs. And like I always say, for me, success in fantasy football is making the playoffs. That's where you've done everything you could during the regular season, because to make the playoffs, that's the biggest thing. Now in the playoffs, anything can happen. Last year, I was playing against Kamara, who got 6 touchdowns in the playoffs. Like, what are you going to do? It's going to happen. No matter how good your team is, one player can ruin it and things like that. So good luck this week. And let me start with the Thursday night game. So we have Buccaneers at the Eagles. Should be a good one. Look, you can't say Brady anymore. You can't. In one league, I was trying to be cute, and I played on Thursday night. I played my favorite quarterback, Matthew Stafford, over Brady. So that was a bad idea. It didn't matter because one of the guys I was playing, Serge, I've never had anybody. This is a kind of not. It's a regular PPR league, full point PPR, and usually average scores are like 140, 150, and if you're like 180, you're doing great. I think he scored like 250 on me. Like every one of his players went off, no matter, even if I had Brady in, it wouldn't matter. So stuff like that happens. So you start Brady. For me now, it's very clear who the running back is for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ronald Jones, Bernard, gone. Look, Leonard Fournette, my brother was asking me last week, I'm like, do you start him? I'm like, you start him. He's getting the work. Work will produce results in fantasy. So if you get the work, like he's talented too, but as long as, usually for fantasy, and if you're trying to kind of figure out what to do with fantasy, it's who's getting the work on the team, that's who you want to play. And so Leonard Fournette is a must start now. So you start him Thursday night. Fournette, even against the Eagles' good run defense, he's catching passes. That is the key to Fournette. Unless you're not in the PPR league, like a standard league, Fournette would be a tough start. But any PPR league, he's catching passes. They're going to use him in the red zone. They're going to use him when Brady's passing it to him, and he's looking good. I'll start Antonio Brown on this one. I'll start Mike Evans. I'll start Chris Godwin. I was cute about starting Brait, the tight end, because Gronkowski. Monitor Gronkowski. I didn't see any reports on him, but I'm not going to play Brait. So those are the guys for the Buccaneers. For the Eagles, Jalen Hurst, you started this. Again, Buccaneers secondary is banged up. Even their run defense was kind of exposed. It's a short week. Miles Sanders, like if you have Miles Sanders, like I know a few guys, one of my buddies probably, I don't know if he listens or not, but you got to start him. But if you have better options, go with better options. Like Chase Edmonds, I'd rather start Chase Edmonds, example. Devonta Smith, you start. Dallas Goedert looks like he's on the COVID list, so I'll monitor that. If he plays, I would definitely probably start him. If not, Zach Ertz would be a good start if Goddard is gone. They're going to be throwing the ball. Secondary for the Buccaneers is exposed. That's Thursday night. Let's move on to a nice early morning game. One of my questions I have is, why is it always like the Jaguars and the Jets who are playing in London? I know they're closer to the Atlantic coast, so the Dolphins, I guess, but Atlanta wasn't. You never see like Kansas City play Buffalo in London. It's not going to happen. So we have another London game morning, so kind of, make sure you wake up and you're like, oh, I should have put this person in. You have the Dolphins at the Jaguars. So I guess neutral field. Miami, I wish Tua was back. I do. You don't know who to start. I try to start Waddle. I started Waddle over Gaskin because they were playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are great against the run. And then Gaskin gets all these passes. I just think you throw your hands up, you're like, you want to scream at fantasy. We call them the fantasy gods. It's like, what are you doing to us? But I would, this one I would start Myles Gaskin. If Devonta Parker doesn't play, I could start Waddle if I need to. If I don't, I won't. I wouldn't. He's kind of gone down. But if Devonta Parker isn't playing, I'm more confident. Gesicki's the one. If Devonta Parker doesn't play, Gesicki would be a good start. That's it. I'm not starting the QB there. For the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence is a borderline start. 2 quarterback leagues must. 1 league, you probably have somebody better. Like Joe Burrow has a great matchup in Detroit. Like That's who I want to start. So if you could pick up, I see Joe Burrow on every waiver wire. It's crazy, but he's good. I started Joe Burrow against one of my buddies over Patrick Mahomes. I had Patrick Mahomes in one league. I started Joe Burrow in the morning because Patrick Mahomes had a night game. I started him in the morning, and I was right. Burrow got 2 more points because Bills' defense is relentless. That game, man, they made Kansas City look bad. So Bills are for real. But that's what I did, and I did it because I had my team's way better. Sorry, Jeff, if you're listening, my team's way better, and I killed them. I killed it. I had Andrews on as my tight end on Monday night. So I scored like 190 points, and he scored like 75. Sucks his team's struggling, but Trevor Lawrence is borderline star. You could probably find somebody better. Laviska Shenault was scaring me because I'm like, I started him in 2 leagues and he did nothing for like 2 quarters, and then all of a sudden he caught this long pass. But look, he's a good start, especially against this Dolphins defense who gave up 5 passing touchdowns. They're going to London, so Marvin Jones has disappointed me back-to-back games. You don't want to start these guys, but if I'm debating between Allen Robinson, who did not practice today, and Marvin Jones, I'm going to start Marvin Jones because when he goes up. There's upside there. He could score 2 touchdowns, 100. So there is there. So it hurts to start because he could give you like the 3 points he gave me last 2 weeks when I started him. Great, thanks. And then James Robinson, you start for that game. All right. Next game, morning game, Packers at the Bears. Bears, watch out. The Packers are coming to town. I hate the Bears. I'm so happy that when they lose. But they're 3-2. They're in second place. They're trying to catch the Packers. Justin Fields probably is going to start, but monitor that because Coach Nagy, I don't know what he's doing. So he could start the redhead guy, the ginger guy. I like Andy Dalton. I always did, especially in Cincinnati. For some reason, I always like Cincinnati. I always liked the running backs. AJ Green was there. It was great. Marvin Jones was there. Oh, I remember those days. It's good stuff. And I remember a few running backs. I can't remember. Man, Giovanni Bernard was like the guy known there. Jeremy Hill. Oh, the good old days of Cincinnati. But Cincinnati has that same thing now with some great wide receivers, great quarterback, better quarterback probably. And Joe Mixon's there. We'll see what Joe Mixon does. But Packers at the Bears. For the Packers, it's very easy. You start Rodgers. It's a good start, even against the Bears. He loves playing against the Bears for some reason. And you look, Mr. Adams, over 200 yards and a touchdown. I thought he was going to catch another touchdown, but Devontae Adams, man, if you got him, it feels great. Aaron Jones, a good start. A.J. Dillon is getting more work. And I said this before the season started. A.J. Dillon will catch passes, and he's doing it. Look, they love it. He's great. I think A.J. Dillon's going to be he's showing his talent. He can run between the tackles. He can also catch the ball, catch the pass. He showed it. He caught a touchdown. So I might be starting him in a few leagues, but it's hard. The Bears' run defense is good. But and Aaron Jones is there. So that's a tough one, borderline. But then you have bye weeks coming out. I have Alvin Kamara on the bye week, so A.J. Dillon's like one of those guys. I'm like, I might just start him. So it's a 50-50. If you have better options, go with a better option. Everybody else, no, I'm not going to start Tanya, and I'm not going to start anybody because I don't know who's going to get the touchdown anymore. It's Devonta Adams, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon now, and Aaron Rodgers. So for the Bears, only 2 quarterback leagues where I start Justin Fields. 1 quarterback I'm on. The Packers showing they have a decent defense. Their defense looks good. They're playing as a unit, and I like it as a Packers fan. I like it, but it would be hard for me to start. Damian Williams, he has an injury. Monitor that. So we talked about Khalil Herbert, the other running back. Like he got some work in. Look, he could probably run on the Packers. It can happen, and that's what they'll try to do, especially with Fields. It might be a good So if Damian Williams is out, Khalil Herbert's the guy to get. If you see him on waivers, go get him. Just put him on your bench. I have him. I picked him up last week because I knew we play in Fab Leagues where you pay for players. If you don't know what that is, please go back and listen to all the other podcasts I talk. That's the Fab. That's the waiver wire you should be playing in because it's a lot of fun. So I knew he was going to get paid up. People are going to pay up for Damian Williams. So I picked up Khalil Herbert in a bunch of leagues and it might pay off. Allen Robinson, I don't know, he beat in practice. Against the Packers, I'll probably start him but if you have better options, man, Allen Robinson, what a disappointment. I was so wrong on him. And it's the quarterback. It's a quarterback issue because Andy Dalton liked him. And Justin Fields, it's a crapshoot. So maybe I'm happy if Andy Dalton comes back because he picks a wide receiver and he loves his wide receivers. Okay. All right, let's move on. We'll do Bengals at the Lions. Bengals at the Lions. Like, Bengals are probably now my second favorite team. The Packers beat them. That was a crazy game. 5 field goals in a row missed and the Packers barely won. But Bengals at the Lions is an easy Bengals win. Bengals are favored 3.5. I'm going to go put some money on this game because definitely covering that line. 47.5. I think Bengals in this game will explode. Start your Joe Burrow. Start your Higgins if he plays. Start your Boyd. Start your Mixon if he plays. If not, you can start Samaje Perine. And then who did I miss? I missed Mr. Chase, I think looks like he's become the number 1 target. I'm not going to start Uzama. He can have a good game. He can have a bad game. You're risking it all. For the Lions, Hawkinson if he plays, Swift, and that's it. I know everybody's talking about the other wide receivers there. Like there's, I think, what's his name? Quintus Cephas is there, and then St. Brown. St. Brown looks like he's getting a lot of more targets, but I don't know, man. Bengals secondary did pretty good against the Packers. They give them trouble. They're a decent defense. So be careful thinking the Bengals of the old. Their defense is on point. All right, next game, Texans at the Colts. What a boring game. The Colts. Man, Colts, how'd you lose that game on Monday? I don't know. But Texans, they were surprised against the Patriots. I was watching the game. I started the Patriots defense, of course. Patriots defense got not lit up, but they got scored on. I don't know. You start Brandon Cooks, and then if you're really desperate, David Johnson, he looks like he's involved in the passing game. I don't know. I just don't mess with that team. I have nobody from that team. Brandon Cooks' volume will bring fantasy production. Colts, oh man, Jonathan Taylor looked good. Yeah, he looked super good. You start him. Michael Pittman, I said last week, go trade for him. He's the guy there. Carson Wentz found the guy there. He's the guy there. Carson Wentz is a 2-quarterback league, good start. But Carson Wentz looked good, and I think he's finally settling in. So if you need a start, maybe I'm not going to trust Carson Wentz unless you just don't have any options. All right. For the Colts, and that's it. I'm not starting any of those defenses, man. I'm just... All right, Rams at the Giants. Giants, beat up team. Daniel Jones, I don't know. I'm not going to start Daniel Jones. Barkley, oh my goodness. How does this guy not get injured? He just gets injured no matter what. He stepped on the guy running away. He stepped on his leg, twisted his ankle. I don't know how long he's going to be out. It's frustrating. Kenny Galladay got injured. And then Tony, that's the wide receiver that probably the only one to pick up and maybe play. Yeah, against the Rams, nobody. Rams need a win. I'm starting nobody on the Giants. I'm thinking about it. You could pick up Devonta Booker if you pick them up. A lot of people probably pick them up. Do you start him? I'm not trusting that guy. For the Rams, again, they're playing a tough defense. They're on the road, but Stafford's a start. Cooper Kupp is a start. Robert Woods is a start. Maybe Robert Woods goes back down to earth, but hopefully not. Hopefully they just sustain all that. And Higbee is probably, if you need a tight end spot start, It's a good start there. And Rams defense, good start. All right, Chiefs at the Washington football team. Chiefs, look, monitor Tyreek Hill. I have Tyreek Hill in a few leagues, and he has an injury, but if he plays, I'm starting him. I'm starting Kelsey. CH is gone. Darrell Williams, the other guy there, and then McKinnon is also there. So McKinnon would be decent in PPR maybe. But man, CH is going to miss some games. So I'd rather watch than start any running back for the Chiefs. You start Mahomes. For Washington, maybe you could start Heineke. I don't know, man. The Chiefs' defense, it's horrible. McLaurin, you start. Gibson, it's a good start. And I don't know about McKissick. He's like, he'll have one good game. He's a good DFS start. That's it. I'm not even gonna go there. But that's it. Vikings at the Panthers. So I'm almost done with the morning games, and we should be done by then. Vikings at the Panthers. Vikings. Everybody was on Cousins. Hey, I'm gonna start Cousins. He's doing great, and then you start him, and he gives you 2 bad games. Like Jefferson and Thielen, I know they're dealing with injuries, but if they play, you start them. Thielen, remember, is touchdown dependent. If he doesn't get a touchdown, he's not going to give you a good game. Jefferson, on the other hand, doesn't need a touchdown. He's getting over 100 yards. It's automatic, dude. That guy's Mr. Talented. Dalvin Cook plays, you start him. Dalvin Cook doesn't play, you start Madison. Very easy. Panthers, hopefully, CMC come back. DJ Moore had a disappointing game. Man, I needed DJ Moore. I needed you, man. I needed like 20 more yards. I would have won. No, But DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, I'm still not going to trust. I think DJ Moore is the guy there. And that's it for the Panthers. I'm not. Panthers defense start. I don't know. Vikings, you can run on them. You can pass on them. So I don't know about anybody else. I'm not going to start Sam Darnold. No. Our last morning game, and for the next episode, I'll do the other games. Last morning game is Chargers at the Ravens. This should be a good one. Ravens are pumped. Chargers look legit. Like, their defense kind of got exposed by the Browns, but there should be. I'm predicting, because the defenses are supposed to be good, but they're gonna give up points. Justin Herbert, probably MVP start. Mike Williams plays start. You start Keenan Allen, and you start. Man, oh my goodness. This is what happens when you start slipping names. Eckler, Jesus, man. Sorry, Jesus, I love you. You start Eckler, and that's it. Defenses, I'm not going to start. Ravens, look, you start your Jackson. You start your Andrews, and you start your Hollywood Brown. He might have a disappointing game, but you could start him running backs. They're trying out all the running backs. You could tell they're just trying everybody out. So that's about it for that game, but didn't want to take too much. Next episode, we'll get into it more. But again, don't give up on your season. Play the waivers. Try to get some trades in. And just, because the more you play, even if you don't make the playoffs, you learn every week. You pick up players, you know about players, because it's a good transfer for next year. So good luck on week 6. Until next time, take care. Make sure you win some games.
Dude, you better not be sleeping after that podcast. That was an amazing message. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Commissioner. Also subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Any comments, questions, concerns, send them to the Instagram page, The Commissioner, your fantasy football guide.